consciousness. And so as this, when you reach your state of evolution, if you ever do, that you want to be mummified, that's what we do here. We'll mummify you, and if you go by the doorkeepers, your car will go on to the next universe. Questions? Oh, there's got to be some questions now. Yeah, Frank?
Oh, I'm trying to clear up this thing about the ka, the doubling of the identity. If the soul is ready, the weighing of the heart ceremony balances that one's consciousness, one's within the ka, goes on. Let's say, I'm trying to put it on a personal level so I can understand it better.
Okay, let's say, I wouldn't worry necessarily about Frank going on. It's not Frank that goes on in evolution. It's the essence of you. It's the Frank without any karma on it. It's the Frank without any wishes, wants, or desires for the things of this planet. It's the Frank that got completely clean of all the things that are happening on the planet and got into a position that allowed itself to float through evolution rather than being weighed down to the universe.
So it'll be the clean, conscious soul of Frank moving on?
Right. Okay. Of Frank moving on. But it wouldn't have really a Frank on it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but we use that as an example.
Right.
And so this is why a lifetime was spent by the people in the Atlantean areas and stuff preparing themselves to be reborn. Let's look at it that way instead of die. They spent their whole lifetime preparing for rebirth.
Into 377,
into a higher state of existence, let's just say, okay? They spent their whole lifetime in doing that rather than their whole lifetime into enjoying themselves here on the planet. So everything they did was spent into being reborn. Their whole effort and their whole existence was behind that. And if you'll get some of these books and read them about the history of, it sounds really funny in there, why these guys would go. And like there's this one story in the book that Wallace Budget on the mummy. It was called The Mummification of Anai. And he spent 30 years digging himself a cave in a wall to be buried in. 30 years! And preparing this place for himself to what today's people would say to die in, but what I would say to be born in. And that's what it was. It was to be born into a new life, not into death. And he spent his whole lifetime getting clean of what he had gathered in the way of karma throughout evolution. Yeah, Al?
After the mummification process is performed and all the scientific energies transpire, if one's ka does not tip the scale and is confronted with the new doorkeepers of another existence, and one's soul or ka is not pure enough to evolve onto a higher form of life, it's still with all the scientific
but exactly what happens, exactly what happens is what happened as we see in history. All of the mummies that they found, they broke open the mummy seals in their bodies. As soon as they cut the seal on the mummy, they immediately began to decay.
Right.
And they decayed and disintegrated and went out and became food for the planet. They reincarnated, and some of you may have been mummified before.
Right.
And you reincarnated into another try to go past this gate with your doubled identity. Your identity, the way the heart ceremony, if you'll read about it very carefully, all you've got to do is spend some time looking at this stuff. It says that if you don't weigh out the alligator eats your double ka, and your double ka isn't in existence anymore. It's a symbolic thing. It means your double ka does not get duplicated. You do not go on. Your mummy may sit there for 2,000 or 3,000 years. It will get broken open, it'll deteriorate, you'll reincarnate, and you'll be ready to start working on it again.
Right, but however, you will be better off in your next incarnation having gone.
Of course, for the try.
Right. Exactly.
It's like saying, unless you start working towards it, you'll never get there.
Right.
If you start working against it, you just go the opposite way.
Right. So whether or not it took
Doesn't make any
doesn't
difference.
make any difference. The process that was involved
Is getting involved in doing it. It's like saying, Al, if you're going to be, if you say you got a weak right arm, okay, and you can only lift 5 pounds, and you want to be able to lift 10, what do you have to do?
You got
Do nothing?
No, you have to work that one too.
And work it and lift it and work it and lift it until it gets up there and builds itself and gets to this. It's very scientific. It's real simple. It all adds up. It's all numerical. Other questions? You had a question.
In reference to Frank's question, could you refer to the Ka as the spirit, or would the spirit?
Okay, there's 27 basic parts of what you would call a spirit or a soul, and there are subdivisions of those, and there are subdivisions of those, and there are subdivisions of those. There's the spirit of the gold in your body, whether it's harmonizing gold in unity that wants to be part of the gold that's necessary to be in your body to flow to make a human body work. There's the spirit of the iron in your blood, if it's iron that's in harmony with being there as a part of a larger whole. There's the spirit of the oxygen that is the prana that you breathe in, and as it comes into you, as resonation is changed within you, and it can take on the spirit of being good with you as part of making a beautiful running machine. It's like an automobile. You can take bad gasoline into the engine of the automobile, and the engine doesn't run as well, and so the spirit of the gasoline that came in wasn't appropriate for the engine. You can design a perfect fuel for the engine. This is why food is so important, the food you eat. As it comes in, the engine runs very smoothly. The oil, the spirit of the oil, the type and the grade, and all of these things are the spirit of it. And so there are an uncountable number of spirits that make up the basic 27 parts of your identity. And all those 27 parts have sub-parts, which all resonate at different resonations, which are all vibrations, which makes the spirit of you. And so this spirit that Frank spoke of is when you are able to get all of the major 27 parts in harmony and unity with all of their subdivisions in the song, let's call it the beehive, that goes on in evolution to the larger hive, and goes on into the harmony of it rather than the harmony of the old one.